alaikum and welcome to Foundations of Herbalism. I am your instructor, Ustada Amira of Ibn Sina Institute. Alhamdulillah, I'm looking forward to a year of herbal education and I'm really excited about this, Alhamdulillah. So congratulations to you for making the big move to taking this course and just getting ready to learn about different health alternatives, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, a bit about Ibn Sina Institute. MashaAllah, it was founded by our head herbalist, Sheikh Hakim At-Tabak, MashaAllah. And Sheikh At-Tabak, he speaks over 8 languages, MashaAllah, and has studied in 5 different countries and practiced herbal medicine for over 30 years, mashallah. And that is making him one of the most unique and authentic herbalists in the world today. And I'm very honored to be working with him. I met Sheikh Atabek, mashallah, when he came to Georgia to teach at Medina Institute. A friend of mine told me that Sheikh Atabek was in town, and then she gave me a little bit of background information about him and that he's an herbalist. And me being an herbalist myself, mashallah, I really wanted to be in his presence. So alhamdulillah, I rushed over to the masjid and I met him for the first time and I was impressed. And alhamdulillah, when he came back again to the United States, we were able to work together and do a small but very beneficial herbal tour on the East Coast in the United States, mashallah, and where we let people know about Ibn Sina Institute and gave them basically a taste of what we will be touching on throughout the year, alhamdulillah. And so Sheikh Atabek, mashallah, he has a chain of knowledge that goes back to the great Islamic pharmacist himself, Ibn Sina. And the school is dedicated to teaching health alternatives and empowering our students with the information to make better decisions in their health and the health of those around them. So if you're looking to open up a clinic, help in a clinic, or share the love of herbalism with other people, then alhamdulillah, you have started at the right place with our school. We have a passion and love for taking care of people, helping them, and by Allah's permission, supplying patients with herbal alternatives to help them with their situation. You are taking the right step, alhamdulillah, by joining this course. And we also offer classes to train students and prepare them to make their own herbal formulas and preparations. While myself and Sheikh Atabek and a few of us, we make our own herbal preparations and ointments and teas and things like that. We really want the students to be able to do the same thing on their own. It's very empowering to go out and know what herbs to use for certain particular ailments and conditions and bring it and prepare it properly to receive its full benefit, alhamdulillah, but all by God's permission. So, alhamdulillah, we're here at Ibn Sina Institute. That's one of the things that we want to do. We want to prepare our students to be able to be independent and be able to pass on the knowledge too as well, because that's a very important part of learning herbalism and sharing that information. We want the tradition to continue. We want to revive the sunnah, and then we also want our children to learn and know about it. It's one of the joys that I get from teaching children, is that I am giving them the tools and the information, and they don't see it so much right now, the bigger picture, but alhamdulillah, I see the bigger picture, and I'm preparing them to be able to take their health in their own hands. And also by learning this, they're learning plant identification, they're learning about how to apply herbs for particular ailments and things like that, and that's continuing the cycle, continuing the tradition. And alhamdulillah, also when I teach adults, I love it because they go back and they teach their own children, they'll talk about it, they share with their friends, alhamdulillah, and that's the important part about learning herbalism and sharing it with others. Alhamdulillah, I am your instructor, Amira Rahim. Alhamdulillah, you may know me from my Facebook page, Traditional Muslim Homemaker, or you may know me from now at Ibn Sina Institute, mashallah. We also have I have a family company called Team Rahim Family Herbals that I started with my late husband, Rahimahullah, where we sell herbal and aromatherapy products and also give classes as well. Alhamdulillah. I am a certified herbalist, master herbalist, and aromatherapist. I am the author of several books on the topics of herbalism, aromatherapy, and homemaking. Alhamdulillah. Uh, I am a mother of 7 children. I reside in Georgia, where I like to garden, homeschool, and teach herbal classes. I teach herbal classes for children at a local summer camp. I also teach herbal classes for adults locally as well. I was introduced to herbalism by my late husband, Amir Idris, Rahimahullah, and mashallah, it started before we had our first child. My husband, he was raised in different parts of the world, and he lived in, in the forest and things like that. And his mom, she introduced him to, herbalism. He grew up with that, harvesting herbs and whereas I, on the other hand, I did not grow up that way. So herbalism was introduced to me a bit later in life when I had my own children. So my children and my late husband inspired me to get more into herbalism. But when I married my late husband, he wanted us to do things naturally and do natural alternatives. And so in order for me to do that, I told myself that I would have to take classes just so I could build my knowledge of natural remedies. While we all have some idea of, lemon and honey and things like that for tea, and also echinacea, garlic, and colds, and things like that, chamomile for calming, and lavender too. It was nice to take a class to go a little beyond the basics and to just empower myself. So I did take a couple courses online, and then I also took some locally with the local herbalists. Mashallah, I was able to sit with them and learn things like as far as herbal first aid, uh, basic botany, so that when I go out and I take children for plant identification walks or adults, then we have an idea. I have an idea of what the plants I'm looking at, and just even if I didn't know what that plant the name of the plant is, then I would have the tools to be able to help myself identify the plant. And so, alhamdulillah, I was able to take classes like that to learn about plants. And alhamdulillah, the course is that I took, it really was an eye-opening experience for me personally, because I did love nature and things like that prior to taking the course, but after I finished, that appreciation increased, mashallah, and I was able to look at the plants around me differently. Where some people may look at dandelion as a weed, I look at it and I think that the roots and the leaves and the flower top are all, mashallah, by God's permission, medicinal, good for your liver. It's a diuretic and a mild laxative, mashallah. And so just that one flower can do so many things by God's permission. And when I look at the flowers outside, I look at it with the appreciation and thankfulness that, alhamdulillah, Allah has opened my eyes to see that there is so much beauty and benefit from the plants around me. Not that they're just beautiful in color and beautiful to look at, but they also serve a big purpose, mashallah. And then there's people out there in the world that are, cutting their grass and getting rid of the dandelions and throwing them away and thinking that, this is a waste in my yard and it's taking up space and it's not pleasant. But if you don't have understanding of the plants, then you won't know that you're getting rid of something that is a treasure, mashallah, to have. And alhamdulillah, that's one of the joys of being able to take the herbal classes. And when I finished, I looked at it that way, and I was so, mashallah, appreciative and thankful for the classes that I took. And then I didn't have the desire to teach herbalism. I went in it thinking that I was going to learn for myself and learn for my children, and just to take care of them. But after I finished the class, I was like, subhanAllah, this information should be shared with other people, and why hold that back and keep it to myself? I want other people to benefit as well. So alhamdulillah, I started taking the time to teach other people. I started doing webinars online, herbs for women, herbs for children, and teaching other people about herbalism, some basics and things like that. And mashallah, my love of teaching herbalism increased. And alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me with the opportunity to partner up with Ustada Noordin Knight of Noor Al Shadili, which is my first home base of where I started taking classes to a bigger level. And alhamdulillah, I started teaching just the basics of herbal healing, a 5-week course. And alhamdulillah, now I'm with Ibn Sina Institute as well, and doing a longer course, alhamdulillah, and Allah is merciful. And it's a great opportunity which I did not see that I would be able to do, and I didn't have that in my mind, but alhamdulillah, Allah's plan is better than my own. So it's really a dream come true to be able to work with Sheikh Atabek and teach others about herbalism, and that I am playing an important part in helping other people do different alternatives in their health, alhamdulillah. And there's some things that people just didn't know about herbalism. They just didn't know about herbs, and alhamdulillah, Allah has put me in their path to be able to show them and talk to them about it and give them some understanding and some direction, hopefully, to make some better choices, alhamdulillah, and then let them know that you have options. There are options out there available for you, and you can look at these options here and talk to your healthcare provider about it, and know that you can maybe possibly take this avenue of health instead of this avenue. But just let you know, you have choices, so don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to research, don't be afraid to present your ideas to your healthcare provider for your health. You only have one body, and this is just one of the things that I teach to people in my class, is that alhamdulillah, you have one body, you have options, you want to do the best thing possible, and you want to do it alhamdulillah in the best way. And so alhamdulillah, I find joy in teaching others about that, because it's important information, and I'm empowering other people. So alhamdulillah, even though I didn't go into my herbal classes thinking that that's what I would do, Allah showed me something different. And alhamdulillah, so I spend more time teaching others herbalism and not so much making products, because I find that I want people to be able to do these things for themselves, to go out and look at the herbs properly, identify the herb, harvest the herb, go back and prepare it properly, and be able to really benefit from it. It's a really rewarding experience to start your herb garden out front and really benefit from, planting it from seed, watching it grow, taking care of it, nurturing it, loving it, saying some du'as over it, and then when it's at its best potential for harvesting, then you harvest it and you prepare it properly, and then you use it. And that's like a very, very amazing and rewarding experience. So part of my herbal studies for myself personally, because herbal studies are always ongoing, no matter if you're the instructor or not, teaching classes also reinforces what I've learned. And even with you learning on the way, you can also share with others, because this will help you with your memory and memorizing your terms, the lessons. Even when we get into the history of herbalism and the different people who had different influences and impacts in the society when it comes to herbs and things like that, you want to share those lessons with other people, alhamdulillah. And because not only are you sharing the information, you're reinforcing what you've learned in your own studies, and mashallah, that will help you as well. Like I said, herbalism is ongoing, so after you even finish the foundations, then you should go on, inshallah, and continue your studies. There are a wide range of classes that we can all learn to benefit us in our herbalism practice. Inshallah, if you decide to go on to serve the community and be a community herbalist, that would be a rewarding experience, even if you're a community herbalist, by teaching it. Or, mashallah, there's a wonderful woman here in Georgia, and she is a community herbalist. She puts on herbal health fairs and locally at the park, and she teaches herbal classes and makes different herbal preparations and have them in her home, and people come and talk to her about their health situation, and then she recommends certain herbs for their particular condition. And alhamdulillah, you can do so much after you take your classes to help other people. Like I said, you can go from, as the young lady here in Georgia, with a health herb bus that she drives, and they do herbal preparations in the bus, or they can, or just even teaching classes locally, teaching to children and things like that. There are so many ways that we can use our knowledge, mashallah, alhamdulillah, to benefit our community. So, contact information. If you ever need to reach me, you can email me at ibnsinausa@gmail.com. You can even Skype me at Traditional Muslima. My Skype office hours are from 1 to 3 on Sundays. So, inshallah, if you feel as though you may need some extra help in discussions with the lessons, the assignments, the recordings, and you just can't wait until the live session, then I'm available on Sundays. My Skype is always open anyway, but alhamdulillah, I will be more attentive to it on Sundays from 1 to 3, inshallah. You can also leave messages in my Skype throughout the week, and I'm even willing, when I have time, to look at it through the course of the week. But most definitely, inshallah, on Sundays, I would definitely be able to respond to questions about the lessons and texts and things like that on the Sundays from 1 to 3, inshallah. Also, if you may be able to catch me on Facebook as well from my page Amira Rahim, or you can leave your messages with Ibn Sina Institute USA Facebook page as well, inshallah. And those are the best ways to contact me for any questions about the lessons, inshallah. What are you expected to learn? So, alhamdulillah, there are some expectations that I have from my students, alhamdulillah, and here are a few. To learn herbal preparations. Sometimes when I talk to students or potential students, they will say something as far as like, what can I do with herbs besides making tea? Well, you don't want to underestimate the value of a really good medicinal herbal tea, because it's really beneficial, mashallah, even though it may seem to some people like this is the most common way to use a herb, so you might not feel like you're doing something extraordinary and spectacular. But alhamdulillah, a strong herbal tea has been really beneficial and it can be used in a variety of ways besides just drinking it. And alhamdulillah, with the herbal preparations portion of our class, you will be able to use herbs in a variety of ways. And alhamdulillah, I believe that this is one of my favorite parts of the herbal classes, because this is when you get that hands-on experience, because inshallah, you'll be using the herbs that you picked and preparing it in the ways that we will be discussing, inshallah. Even more appreciation for God's creation. As I said previously, I left my herbal class feeling like when I open up my front door, I just look at the herbs and the plants differently, and I feel a closer connection to Allah by working with the plants. I feel a responsibility to the plants and to the community. And that was from after taking my class, mashallah. And when I say a responsibility to the plants, it's because, and we will discuss it in later on in the other classes, but to touch on it briefly, when I say a responsibility to the plants, I'm talking about not using endangered plants, also not using more than what we need, and making sure that we're using the plant properly in the best way possible. And when I say a responsibility to the community, That goes back to what I was saying in the beginning as far as teaching other people herbalism, teaching children, passing on the tradition, making sure that other people are aware of, the different options that they may have, because a lot of people don't know. And alhamdulillah, when we inform them, we're doing our part in the community. So taking the herbal classes is not just about yourself, but it's also on a bigger scale about society, about the people around you, about um, just helping others, alhamdulillah. And so it serves a bigger purpose. And that's what you're expected to learn and really realize in the class. Herbal terminology. You will hear different terms across your herbal career, your herbal classes you may take outside of this one, and even in your own reading that you will want to be familiar with. For instance, if you want to look at herbs that are good for any digestive type of problems, then you want to look at your carminative herbs, and inshallah that will help you figure out which herb you may want to use to help with any particular digestive issues. Carminative herbs such as fennel, anise, and mashallah, you want to look at those. And so you might hear that word, and you might say, well, I'm not sure what that word is. What is an adaptogen? What is an expectorant? And things like that. So inshallah, you'll be expected to learn these terms, put them to memory. Also, not only will you put the term to memory, you will actually remember which herbs may fall in that particular category, inshallah. Which is really exciting to know, because once you start putting those to memory and then you open up a book and you see that term in the book, you will not be lost. You'll be like, I got that. I know what that is. And alhamdulillah, you won't be lost. So they're important terms to remember, and inshallah you'll be expected to learn those and be tested on those, inshallah, and you will do well. Herbal profiles, you will be expected to be able to pick from your herbs that you selected, which we'll get into soon. The herbs that you selected, you'll be able to do herbal profiles. So that means you'll write the herb, its botanical name, and then you can write down its usages and also its contraindications, the times where you shouldn't use that herb, inshallah. And this will be part of what is called your materia medica, which is your herbal notebook. And we're starting off your herbal notebook with the 25 herbs, inshallah, that you will pick, all up to you, what is easily accessible for you in your area, in your location, and we will do herbal profiles based on those herbs. You're also expected to learn how to use herbs safely. As I said, we have a responsibility. Also, part of that responsibility is using herbs with knowledge and acting wisely. Inshallah, I always like to start my herbal classes, whether if they're online or whether if they're locally, with a talk on herbal safety. So inshallah, after you listen to this introduction audio, then inshallah you'll be able to move on to herbal safety. And going into herbal safety, mashallah, we'll talk about herbs and prescription medications, herbs in particular seasons of life, and so on. You will be expected to become confident in using herbs. A lot of times people may not know or feel kind of awkward going out and putting their hands on the herb fresh off the ground. I've actually had people say that even though they know dandelion is edible and you can eat it and it's good for you, they were not used to just going outside in the proper environment, which we will get into, the proper ways to harvest herbs and the importance of location. So, alhamdulillah, I've had people who, even if the location was a good location, great for harvesting herbs, they felt a certain uncomfortability going out and just getting the herb, cleaning it off, and eating it. And some people say, some people really have to get used to that. And inshallah, after class, you'll be able to have confidence in using herbs, going out, looking at it, having some idea what type of herb you're looking at, and if you didn't know what type of herb you were looking at, then alhamdulillah, we'll go over basic botany terms, and that will help in identifying plants that you may not know right away, alhamdulillah. And with that confidence, you'll be able to work with herbs without feeling apprehensive, without feeling like you don't know much. And alhamdulillah, you'll feel confident because you know that you can use the herb in a variety of ways. And so sometimes I tell people, you may not can get all the herbs, you may not have access to all the herbs that you want, but a few herbs go a long way, and you can use them in a variety of ways. So for instance, if you had ginger, and people might find ginger to be relatively easily accessible, common, and so they might not find it to be as unique or outstanding in their eyes as, for instance, ashwagandha. And not everybody has access to ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen, and that's a term that we'll go over inshallah as well. But ginger is a great herb that can be used in a variety of ways. You will learn how to use ginger as a compress. You will learn how to do ginger as a decoction, which is a method of making it into a particular way and method of making ginger into a tea. You will also know how to tincture your herbs and turn your herbs into ointments. So, for instance, like I just said, you can use that in a variety of ways, mashallah. And with those skills, you'll become more confident and will know how to work one herb to get as much medicinal benefit as possible, alhamdulillah. And that's the exciting things that people get really excited about when they're in the herb class, because it's like a light bulb goes off in their head, and then they're excited and they're going out and they're using the herbs that they have. Because don't underestimate the herbs that you have in your local grocery store that's organic, and it's right there for you because you can work with it. And alhamdulillah, this class will help give you the tools and the confidence to be able to do that, inshallah. Okay, alhamdulillah, if you look at the current slide in the syllabus for the foundations of herbalism, alhamdulillah, it gives you my information, the office location, hours, the email, and who I am. The description of the course is to get a deeper understanding of the foundations of herbalism. This will prepare students to take their herbal learning to another level. This will help students to understand the herbs and how to use them safely for yourself and to help others. Alhamdulillah. Expectations and goals: to be able to make your own formulas, learn new herbal terminology, to prepare herbs in various ways, to understand herbal safety, to understand basic botany. Alhamdulillah, please pay special attention to the office hours and contact information. So that way you'll be able to catch me at the right time. You don't want to come after 3 o'clock on Sundays to your computer to get me on Skype, because most likely you won't be able to do that. So, and then you would have to leave a message, and then I would be able to get back to you when I was free to do so. So alhamdulillah, make sure you pay special attention to that. Also, add your own expectations to this list. I would love for you to sit and think about why you are taking this course, and also write your own expectations for yourself and your goals. Where do you see yourself after you finish this course? Do you find that you will open up your own clinic? Do you find that you will just use this for your own basic knowledge and for your own family? Where do you see yourself after this Foundations of Herbalism course? What are your goals? And if you would like to continue studying more, what other areas of natural alternative medicine would you like to learn? Also, what are your expectations and goals for this particular course? What would you like to see happen for yourself? What would you like to see mentioned? And what moved you to take this course in the first place? Did you find that you are sometimes people are driven to herbalism for certain reasons? One of the reasons I've run into with other people is that they might themselves be sick or have some kind of condition and they really want to get better, and they are looking, I mean, people out there in the world are looking for health alternatives and options that they can do because they really want to get better. They really have that drive and desire, and so they will take classes to better their own health because they found themselves in a health situation where they need to get themselves together. So many people do join the courses for different reasons. What are your reasons for taking this Foundations of Herbalism course? Some people are inspired by loved ones who may be sick and not feeling well, and they want to be able to take care of them properly, so they're actually really motivated into learning more for that particular reason. I've also had parents who are motivated because they really want to take care of their children better. And those are all valid reasons to take herbal classes, even just for one's own personal knowledge and benefit. It's still, alhamdulillah, a blessing to be able to take the course. And alhamdulillah, for whatever reason you are here, I am glad you're here and I'm glad you're with us. And inshallah, you will be able to meet your expectations and goals and exceed them, inshallah. And I pray that we are able to help you do that. So when you are learning in the course and things might seem to be, maybe you're behind on your lessons or you need some extra time to write your essays, things like that, don't be afraid to reach out and email me, inshallah, or meet me on Skype or call me, because on the Ibn Sina USA Facebook page, there is a number that you can call and you'll get me, inshallah, and we can talk about it to make sure that you're successful in the course. But if you don't say anything, I will not be able to know and not be able to help you. So inshallah, for me to help you be successful in the course, you will have to contact me and let me know that sometimes you might be a little late turning in your assignment and things like that. I understand because I'm a mom of 7. So I do understand that life can happen and things are unexpected, and some days you might not be on time because there might be some kind of bump in the road of life that you have to deal with. But be sure to contact me and let me know, so that way, inshallah, we can be able to help you and we can work it out so that you can continue the course and be successful, inshallah. And so if you look at the next part of the syllabus, it has the required text that I recommend. All assignments must be completed to maximize the benefits of this course, and email to me. If for some reason you're not able to, I understand that life happens and things like that. If you're not able to email me the assignments at the appropriate and right time, then please email me ahead of time to let me know, and we can discuss different arrangements for you, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, in this picture you'll see 2 of the books that I put on the list: Ibn Sina's Medicine, a new translation of the 11th century Quran and practical applications, and the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine, a good reference book, mashallah, and it also talks about different remedies for certain ailments. And so, alhamdulillah, with the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine, you'll find that to be one of the books that you will definitely refer to throughout your herbal studies, alhamdulillah. As we mentioned about the course materials, the textbooks are important because you will find that your assignments that I give you all will also have reading. It'll come from the books that I mentioned, inshallah, and you'll be able to do your essay assignments if you have the books. The herbs are very important. They are your choice of herbs. I will not select the herbs for you. You will select your own, inshallah. The only herbs that we should all have in common are the herbs that will be used from alchemy of herbs when we do our culinary portion of the class. then inshallah, that's when we will all be using the same herbs. And inshallah, I will stick to the ones that are usually the most accessible around the world, such as garlic and ginger, things like that, inshallah. And also, if you find that some of the herbs that we will do from Alchemy of Herbs are not accessible, then inshallah, you will be able to order them, inshallah, for the lesson. And as I said, the notebooks for your notes and a notebook for your materia medica, they should be two separate notebooks. If you want to combine it, then that's possible. It'll be it's not difficult. So I mean, you can do that if you want. Have a notebook that is dedicated to your class notes and your materia medica. I would highly recommend you just do two separate ones, because you may take more classes and then you could just fill up one notebook full of all your herbal classes and keep a divider in between each of the classes so you know where you got your notes from, and then it'll be easier for you to go back into your lessons just in case you want to find what you learned that day, and it might not have been with another class, it might have been in a different class. So to keep your notes separate from your herbal course in your herbal courses notebook would be a good idea to keep that organization going, as I said, inshallah. Some study advice. Focus. It's so important that you create a space, an environment where you're able to focus on your lessons. I cannot stress that enough. As I said in the beginning of the audio, I am a mom of 7 children. Alhamdulillah, I do homeschool. And before my husband passed away, rahimahullah, I worked a lot with taking care of him and also just doing my part as a wife and taking care of my husband and things like that. So I do understand that some days you're not going to be able to focus. So it's very important that you set yourself a schedule. I find that I'm able to read and practice and do notes in my own personal classes in the early morning or at night. So it's very important, and I know it's not easy to set a schedule and to, inshallah, work on being consistent with it. One of the things that I will tell people is that it can be done. You just have to be really dedicated and you have to want it. Not bad enough, good enough to be able to achieve it by Allah's permission. Alhamdulillah, I remember my late nights studying from my Master Herbalist certification and my other certifications, and how I had to, do some late nights with writing my essays or getting up hours earlier than the children to be able to do my assignments. And so you have to focus and just remind yourself of the bigger picture, your higher purpose. Remind yourself of your goals. A lot of things that we want takes time and takes dedication. So alhamdulillah, be patient and keep being dedicated and driven, and inshallah you'll be able to complete this course successfully. And when you look back on it, you'll be thankful that you stayed up some nights, or you got up extra earlier, or you managed your time wisely. Sometimes we might have to scale back on our Facebook time, our Instagram time, our Twitter time, and focus on our studies. And it is possible. So alhamdulillah, if you're blessed to have a friend who is also taking the course, then it would be really great to pair up and help with that study buddy, accountability partner to help you focus. Sometimes students need to have that extra support available so that they can be able to keep their mind focused on completing their lessons. Say du'as for learning. I remember my late husband, rahimahullah, teaching me to say, Rabbi zidni my Lord, increase me in knowledge. And I say that a lot before I start my studies, along with saying Bismillah and making du'as and saying salawat and things like that. So inshallah, we can have success, because we know that success is from Allah, and we want to make sure that we're remembering Allah throughout the course, and remembering that the healing that we are receiving from the plants is by Allah's permission. So we want to keep that focus on saying our du'as for learning to be successful, inshallah. Ask questions during the live session and office hours. No question is off the table. No question is a not smart question. No question is a silly question. Um, and no question is, well, I should have known that already. But you didn't know it already. So ask the question, inshallah, get the answer, and will make your life easier, inshallah. If you don't want to ask your questions during the live class, then inshallah, that's what the office hours and the email is for. If you need that personal time where you can have a little more time with me, the instructor, as opposed to the live session where we may not have much time to get into detail about your question. And so I can just touch on the surface of it, and then inshallah we move on to the other students who may have questions, or just to get finished with the lesson itself. So inshallah, I really want you to benefit from the course. So emailing me on the office hours are really good if you want that intimate personal time where I can really answer your questions, inshallah. So I recommend the office hours for those who need some in-depth time with me. Yes, and as I said, partner up with your classmates. Inshallah, if you didn't come into the program with a friend, then alhamdulillah, it's a good time to make new friends. So inshallah, you'll be able to know who's in your class and work with them, get to know them, and you'll even find that it's exciting to be partnered up with somebody who is just as excited as you are, keeping each other motivated throughout the course. You can send that person a message on Skype or Facebook and check in with each other if you got the assignments complete. And even if you don't get to me to ask me questions, asking your classmates questions would also be great too. If you can contact them, and if you have that study buddy may be able to help you get answer your question even before the live class, or even maybe before I even get to my email to respond back. Flashcards. Flashcards are going to help. Yep, I'm taking you guys back to, high school, middle school, but alhamdulillah, it's effective and it works. Flashcards are great, especially when we get into herbal terminology. You definitely want to have your flashcards available. And when we get into botany, inshallah, flashcards are going to be your best friend. Even if you got to Skype your study buddy and hold up a flashcard and then ask them, what's this term mean? And inshallah, they'll be able to respond and things like that. It can be fun if you make it fun, and it'll make your time in the class successful and easier, and alhamdulillah, stress-free, because we don't want you to be stressed about taking the course and remembering everything. But alhamdulillah, you can make it fun, hanging up your flashcards around the house, in your study area, even hanging it up in your kitchen, because if you're a busy mom that is in the kitchen cooking and cleaning, you better put your flashcards up on the wall, and you can look at them as you keep passing them by throughout the day, inshallah. And there's really effective methods of studying. You can get creative with it. Study advice: hands-on application of the lessons. Yes. Alhamdulillah, a good way to remember your lessons is by doing the assignments, and that will include making different herbal preparations. So you want to be hands-on. Some of us are really into hands-on learning. I know that I am. So inshallah, take it beyond yourself, go the extra mile, take the initiative to go ahead in your assignments. And what I mean by that is do extra. Don't just do what's required. If the assignment calls for you to do an herbal syrup and you make an herbal syrup, well, the more practice, the better. So make more than one herbal syrup, different types. You have 25 herbs, and you don't have to limit yourself to 25 herbs. You can have more than that if you want. And if you're not able to, and you can only get 10 or 15, that's also fine as well. So don't limit yourself by just saying, well, I'm going to do the assignment and it just says make a syrup, and then you make a ginger syrup and then that's it. No, try doing elderberry syrup and then adding additional herbs and combinations that both have the same type of benefit that you're looking for in your syrup to get extra practice in. The more practice, the better. The more practice, the more the formulas are committed to your memory, and alhamdulillah, the more chances you have with just having hands-on experience with your herbs. That's important study advice to have. Overall, study advice is to make sure you have your materials, make sure your area of study is organized, make sure that you keep your notes labeled with dates, inshallah, and with the name of the lesson that you did your notes from, inshallah. And you will find much success in your studies if you do it that way. These are some of my study advice. So if you have extra study advice that you want to share with your students, then inshallah, share with us your advice that has helped you in the past with studying. For example, if you've ever heard of the herb rosemary, rosemary is said to be good for increasing one's memory, alhamdulillah, I believe by 75%. An example of this is that one day I needed to go get my learner's permit to drive because I didn't have one at the time. And I went to take the online practice test for the driving, and I kept failing. I kept getting 60% and it wasn't getting any higher. And so I said to myself, oh, I remember that rosemary is good for memory, alhamdulillah. And I'm actually growing rosemary outside. So I went out, cut a piece of rosemary. I, rubbed my hands on the leaves to get the smell. I waved it in my face, and then I put it beside me next to my computer. And then I looked at my notes and what I kept getting wrong. And then I looked at it, I studied it, and shortly after, I went back to take the practice test online to practice, and I kept getting 100, alhamdulillah, 100, alhamdulillah, 100, alhamdulillah. And I was like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be ready to go take the actual test. And mind you, I still had the rosemary. I woke up the next day and I'm still looking at the book, still glancing over it. I still have rosemary. I stick the rosemary in the side of my hijab and I'm still studying. I go to the DMV to get my learner's permit. And as I'm sitting there waiting for my number to be called, I was still reading the book and looking at it, just breezing over it, and I still had the rosemary inside of my hijab. And alhamdulillah, they call me up to take the learner's permit test, and I put my notes up, and then I just rub my rosemary, which is inside my hijab, at the DMV office, and I go in and I take the test, and alhamdulillah, I passed the test. And when they take my picture for my learner's permit, I have my hijab on with rosemary sticking out in the side. So my learner's permit has that picture of rosemary on the side, mashallah. And I always like to tell people that story because, alhamdulillah, one, that's just a way that you can use herbs. And I use it for its aromatic properties because rosemary is in the Lamiaceae family, which is known as the mint family. And one of the properties of the Lamiaceae family is that they're aromatic. It has a strong smell. It's a good smell. It has a smell. And rosemary to me has a strong smell. So even rubbing my hands on it and smelling it is really good. Sometimes I will go outside and I will shake it a little bit gently and I can smell it in the breeze, mashallah. And it's a lovely scent to me. You can also, that's just one of the ways that you can use the herbs and just for its smell, and that's aromatherapy, alhamdulillah. And that's something we will get into inshallah briefly, because we do want to talk about the importance of essential oils and herbs, because there is a connection. Essential oils are made from herbs, so we will talk about that inshallah, and the importance of aromatherapy safety as well, and how you can enhance your herbal preparations by using essential oils, alhamdulillah. So that's my study advice, and inshallah, if you have anything else you want to add to it, you can always email me and we can share it in the live sessions as well, inshallah, what helps and what works for you. Alhamdulillah, your assignment is to write a one-page essay about why you are taking the course and include your plans on what you intend to do after completing the course. How did you get into herbalism? What is your history of herbalism and your relationship with it? Was it something that you learned and been a part of growing up? It's something natural to you, as in that your mom had always given you some kind of homemade syrup that her grandmother taught her, and so you've grown up with that? Or is herbalism something that you were introduced to later on in life? Some of us may have always been into natural eating, natural living, but really started to pursue herbalism a little later on in our life, maybe triggered by maybe being sick ourselves, maybe being witnessing someone in our life being sick, or just that we want to help other people more. Maybe you're already a nurse, or maybe you are already a doctor taking this course, and so you want to enhance your own knowledge, your medical knowledge, to better help your patients. Or is it something that, well, in the future you would like to open up a clinic, and inshallah you want to be able to start by learning more about herbalism? So, inshallah, everybody's story is different and unique, and I'm looking forward to reading about why you're taking this course. You might have come to the herbal workshop that myself and Sheikh Atapek did in Delaware, and from there you were even more interested in herbalism and so decided you would take the course. Or it could be that you found us on Facebook and learned about the course via the Facebook and looking at the posts and becoming interested that way. Whatever your story is, I want you to share it with us, inshallah. I would love to read about it. So that is your first assignment. It is a getting to know you. I want to know who you are, your background, and even your experience with herbalism. Some of us have been doing herbal preparations prior to this course and getting our feet wet already. So inshallah, if you've been doing that, I would love to know about your experience with herbalism. Looking forward to reading that assignment. Jazakallah khair for listening to this audio for the introduction on the foundations of herbalism. I am your instructor, Ustad Amira. Feel free to email me, call me, and text me, inshallah, and even set up an appointment for Skype office hours for Sunday. Inshallah, it's really good if you email me prior to the Sunday office hours so that way your spot can be reserved. Inshallah, that would be the best way for us to keep order and to make sure that everyone is getting a fair turn, is that if you email me and I email you back about a specific time within that time slot that we can talk, inshallah, it will help keep things smooth throughout the course. Thank you so much for joining us. I pray that it will be beneficial. I pray that it opens doors to many, many, many opportunities to serve our community and others and our family and our friends and ourselves by learning the foundations of herbalism. Inshallah, may Allah reward you all for your intentions. I pray you all meet and exceed your goals in herbalism. And inshallah, if I can be of any service in that, and alhamdulillah, please feel free to reach out to me, and inshallah I will do my best within my means to make sure that inshallah we are all successful as a family, as a team. Assalamu alaikum.